first place. Man, I got it off the rip. Hard to keep my focus when there's Henny in the mix.
So I know you just talked about how you're working with different manufacturers now, and you've been calling them with Zoom and everything. So how'd you start to forge those relationships and kind of meet and reach out to these different manufacturers?
Definitely a lot of asking people like, what manufacturer do you use? What manufacturer do you use? And nobody wants to give it. That's why people watching this podcast are getting a treat about both stories, and I'm sure multiple other people that come on. Is you do not get that anywhere else unless you have a connection with somebody. Then they probably won't tell you. So what you got to do is, so I have a bunch of like a friend group, kind of that is just a bunch. It's just groups of people that like to do things and like get out there, like entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
and I think that's the best because they help me through like people to go through and like things to kind of do, and that's what got me to like the manufacturer I'm at now. There's like 4 manufacturers that are in Minnesota that are okay to use, but they also they cost a lot, and the minimum order quantity is out of the roof.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. Yeah. So how did you find that working at your house and making everything yourself? How did you find that?
Yeah, I don't know. So if you guys know or don't know, I've done a lot of different things to make my clothes. So I started off kind of the same route as you, kind of trying to make them myself, not with the printer sheets and the ironing, just terrible quality and everything. And then I kind of shifted over to actually one of my first lines. I don't know if I got any of it over here, but I found a local screen printer who actually I made these gross, ugly pink t-shirts with just a big word lineage on them. Then I made the same design with these just terrible quality, gross maroon crew necks. I don't really know what I was thinking, but yeah, I just kind of started with that. And then I kind of evolved as my style changed and like I knew what I wanted. I did some of the kind of the drop shipping stuff with different ones called Printful, and there's a couple other ones out there. But I just never really had the grasp on the branding aspect. I didn't really know what I was doing there, and I just did not like that. So I recently started to shift over to doing a lot of the stuff in-house and doing it myself. So again, I don't have anything over here, but I started embroidering a lot. I got an embroidery machine. I do a lot of that embroidery stuff myself now, and I'm trying to learn to screen print and do some other things. But yeah, otherwise, I've mainly just worked with just going on Google and looking up different local screen printers. I've always liked screen printing and stuff, and they've always done good. Just gonna say here's one. Actually, a family friend, she did that for me, and that was pretty cool. But yeah, just finding local screen printers and stuff, that's always worked out great for me, and that's what I've done. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the connection and like talking to people who make your stuff and also making it yourself is what keeps you creative. Because during quarantine, what I found negative about the whole like talking to the manufacturer on FaceTime, which is nice and all, but there's just a bunch of things that aren't the same.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've been lacking creativity during like the whole lockup and everything.
Yeah, me too.
So I think making it yourself, I think that gets like kind of the juices flowing. So I kind of like to remake all the clothes that I buy and then kind of put my logo on them, which is kind of what a lot of people do, but it's so fun to do it.
Yeah.
Like just, and that's what leads to making new drops and everything too. So.